Guys, today I'll be taking you all on GST 107, and our mode 1 talks about introduction to open and distance learning system. Now, the term open and distance learning is made up of two different concepts: education, namely distance education, and open learning. Now, while distance education has been around for a quite long time, open learning is more recent phenomenon which you have to understand. According to the handout, open learning is being defined as a learning system of teaching and learning characterized by separation of instructions. It involves a two-way communication and occasion, face-to-face meeting with tutorials, and learner-to-learner interaction. Now, talking about the history of open and distance learning. According to the handout, there are several factors that necessitated the history of open and distance learning. Now, the first one is the distance education. When we talk about distance education, it's defined as a field of education that focuses on teaching methods and technology with the aim of delivering teaching to students who are not physically present. Now, this is for distance education, that lecture students that are not physically present. Then we have the correspondence stage. The earliest appearance of distance education was in the form of correspondence education. This started in the mid 19th century in Great Britain. Next, we have the sound and the video signal stage. Sound and video signal stage. The foundation of the second stage of distance education was laid during the World War I through the invention of radio in the United Kingdom. Hence, the sound and the video signal stage talks about radio and postal services that helps to transfer our communication from one person to another. Then we have the computer stage, also known as the ICT stage. The computer stage is the industrialized stage of open distance learning, where students make use of computer and other social networks such as Google in order to learn or study. Now we have open distance learning. Open learning is an innovative movement in education that emerged in the 1970s. It refers mainly to activities that either enhance learning opportunities within formal education system. Then we look at Unit 2, characteristics of open and distance learning system. Characteristics of open and distance learning system. When we talk about the characteristics of open and distance learning system, this includes separation of teacher and learner. Separation of teacher and learner. Now, one of the major distinguishing features of open and distance learning system from the conventional system is the distance, the space between the teachers and the learners. This separation occurs in two planes, which is place and time. By place, we mean that the teachers and the learners do not live or meet at any time. Then we have openness. Openness is the key word behind the philosophy of open and distance learning to make you understand the concept of openness. We also have openness as to place. At this level, openness is directed to the people that are seeking higher education. Then we have openness as to place. In this level, it means the removal of the boundary of the educational institution. Then we have openness to ideas. In open discussion on opening ideas, In the field of computer science, the word connotes free and unrestricted distribution of the source code. That is, students are free to express their own ideas and opinion about a particular discourse. We have flexibility, which is another factor of open and distance learning. We have flexibility in time, flexibility in place, flexibility in pace, and accessibility, affordability, and technologically driven. Then we move over to module unit 3, teaching and learning in the open and distance learning system. Teaching and learning in the open and distance learning system. When we talk about learning environments is a broad term and it refers to the physical location or the background that enables a smooth and adequate learning for students. A learning environment is a software designed as an all-in-one solution that can facilitate online learning for an organization. It includes the function of a learning management system for those courses within the learning environment. Then we have a creator and manager of learning environments. These are people that are actually in charge of controlling and at the same time organizing a learning platform. We have the instructor, also called a tutor. Another role of the teacher takes place up in the open and distance learning system is to be an instructor. That is, the teacher provides students with the necessary information which they need to support the students' learning processes. Moving over to module 2, study skills for distance learners. Study skills for distance learners. Listening is considered to be the first of the four basic learning language skills. Listening is one of the first basic language skills which students need to learn. We also have speaking, reading, and writing. These are all basic learning study skills. What are the strategies for efficient listening? Stop talking and paying attention. Maintain eye contact with the speaker, which is the tutor. Emphasize with the speaker and remove physical or mental distraction. Also, you need to take notes and we look over types of or purposes of listening. There are several purposes of listening. We have active or attentive listening, critical or analytical listening, emphatic or therapeutical listening, and appreciative listening. Unit 2, speaking. When we talk about speaking, we talk about human communication that involves talking. How to be an effective speaker. For you to be an effective speaker, you need to study hard. You need to improve on your vocabulary intensively and extensively. We have types and purposes of speaking. We have informative speaking, persuasive speaking, entertainment speaking, and learning to speaking. Unit 3, reading. Reading. When we read, we must make sure we read both intensively and extensively. Reading helps us to improve our vocabulary. Why do we read? We read for pleasure, we read for information, we also read to study and know a lot of things. Essential component of reading. We have phonics. When we talk about phonics, this is all about understanding the relationship between letters and sounds. Phonemics. Phonemics refers to the ability to recognize and use individual sounds to create words. Then unit 4, writing. Writing. This involves penning down notes, jotting down important points while you are reading. Writing enables an individual to make and structure a good note make for remembrance purposes.